The Choi family was preparing to go back home. Jungkook. And, alright, let's go. After I drop you off, I'll take Sora as well. Why? And, no thanks. Jungkook grinned. I'll just ride with Mom and Dad. At Choi Mansion? Mrs. Choi. And is she the same girl you told us about? And gave a nod. Mr. Choi. Why don't you tell him directly? Why? And, Dad, tell him what? Mrs. Choi. About your feelings. In's expression softened as she realized they were already aware. Why? And, Mom, it's cool. He remains a friend of mine. It's okay with me. Dot smiled. Mr. Choi. And you don't have to pretend. Softly petting her. Hair, we know you're hurting. That was it. She was no longer able to hold her tears. Tears filled her eyes, and she gave her dad a tea hug. Why? And yes, Dad, it hurts a lot. I'm just a friend to him, but I love him. Sobbed. They too were M0 ved 2 tears upon when roasting their daughter. In this state, Mrs. Choi gave her a back rub as Mr. Choi gave her a tight hug and let out a good cry and at last poo. Ed away. Why? And don't worry, Dad. I'm aware of my pain, but I will get better. Soon, she wiped away her tears. It's not easy to forget how I feel about him, but I'll try. Mr. and Mrs. Choi smiled and key dollar at her forehead, proud of their strong daughter. All they could do as parents was help her get through this difficult period. So, Sora was in the car with Jungkook, and Jungkook was taking Sora home. Sora, hey, Jungkook, don't you think In's acting different lately? Jungkook, why do you say that? Well glanced at her. Sora, I've noticed she doesn't seem to like it when I hang out with you. Sora, I think she might have a crush on you and Jungkook. Thy virulently break Jungkook. What? Not at all. We have been friends for a very long time. She is my best friend. That's not how she would see me, urged Sora. But Jungkook, the way she looks at you, it's not just friendly vibes. Trying to get him to see your point. Jungkook, you're completely misunderstanding Sora. Okay, assuming she likes me, why hasn't she said anything? Sora, maybe she knows you don't feel the same way. If you think I'm wrong, just ask her. Jungkook, Sora, how am I supposed to ask her something like that? Looking a little worried. Sora, just take a chance. I feel like I'm in the way of you two, trying to push him. Jungkook, fine. I'll ask, experienced a knot in his stomach. Next day. Things felt different on this college day since Jungkook hadn't woken it up. It wasn't easy, but she was trying to adjust. In arrived at class and took her usual seat. Jungkook and Sora soon entered. Jungkook, Hin, you're here early. After saw her and raised her gaze. She chuckled as she teased. Why? And I'm not early. You're just late. Jungkook laughed. She was trying to keep things friendly, acting as if they were just friends. Jungkook, and can I ask you something? She simply hummed. In response, Jungkook, do you have feelings for me? Like, more than just friends? A sudden blue tea from Jungkook caught an off guard. She looked at Sora, who appeared to be smiling. Why? And what if I said yes? Glancing back at Jungkook, Jungkook was taken aback, as was Sora, who had not expected. And to be so straightforward, she assumed and would remain quiet. There was a moment of silence before and burst out laughing, confusing the other two. Why? And what do you think that I might actually like you? Still giggling, Jungkook laughed too. Jungkook, see, I told you. Sora, while Sora forced to smile. Although Jungkook laughed, he was secretly a little dapper. Euro said, why did that occur? At that moment, a new student and the teacher entered the room. Teacher, everyone, we have a new student joining us, and everyone turned to face the newcomer. Yeonjun. Hi, my name is Yeonjun. I hope we can all get along. With a charming smile that made all the girls swoon, he introduced himself. Teacher, go ahead and take a seat. And Yeonjun approached in and sat down next to her. Yeonjun, mind if I sit here? To which In laughed. Why? And you're already sitting, smiled, to which Yeonjun smiled. In return, Yeonjun, reaching out to shake In's hand, which she gladly accepted. Why? And they grinned at each other. Watching them converse, Jungkook was a little uncomfortable when he saw In laughing with another guy. Lunch break, Jungkook, In, let's go. Though it felt different today, he usually called her in. Why? And Yeonjun, come join us, smile, and he gladly agreed. Although Jungkook wasn't overly excited about it, he was unable to decline. The four of them sat at a table in the cafeteria. Jungkook, I'll go get the food. Yeonjun followed him. Yeonjun, I'll come too. Sora, do you like him? Gazing at In raised an eyebrow, confused. Why? And the new guy. Why keep asking me that? Sora, just curious, but In was growing impatient. Why? And why does it matter to you if I like him or not? Sora, I was just asking. No need to get mad. It confused In. Even more when Sora said, acting all innocent all of a sudden. Jungkook, what's going on? Asking as he put the food down. Sora, I just asked her if she liked the new guy, and she got all angry. Jungkook, really? Sora? I mean, how do you ask that? You really think why In would fall in love with someone that quickly? When he's just arrived, obviously taken aback by her questions, Sora was taken aback. She hadn't expected Jungkook to react that way. She assumed he'd be angry with In for calling her out, but she was completely wrong, and simply gazed at Jungkook, taken aback by his support of her. Thank goodness Yeonjun was taking a call and wasn't with Jungkook. Sora, I apologize. With a sigh, Jungkook settled down, obviously not in the right mood. After a short while, Yeonjun appeared. Yeonjun, hey, I apologize. And this is your meal, passing her the plate. Yeonjun, since I only know In, how about we all introduce ourselves? Recommended. In and Yeonjun engaged in lively conversation and laughter throughout the remainder of their meal, after going around, introducing themselves. Even as Sora was speaking to him, Jungkook continued to stealthily glance at them. Mr. Choi, my sweetie looks super happy today as soon as he saw And grinning. Why? And yes, I am. Today, I meet a new friend, smiled in response. Mrs. Choi, are you serious? Who is that? Why? And his name is Yeonjun. He only started today, and we hit it off. He's very nice, Mr. Choi. That is fantastic. What matters is that you're happy. Jungkook was having a mini meltdown in the meantime. Gah, what is wrong with me? Why is it that when I see In with that new guy, I get so angry? He was battling his emotions. He kept trying to talk himself out of feeling this way because he couldn't understand why. Jungkook, you're okay, Jungkook. He told himself he's new, the same way In had. After a few days, In and Yeonjun started to get close. However, Jungkook isn't overly pleased with it, not sure why it bothers him so much, but he can't stand seeing and get close to another guy. Meantime, Sora is starting to get irritated with In because she's noticed that Jungkook hasn't been paying as much attention to her lately. Sora, Jungkook, JK. He's completely lost in thought, staring at In and Yeonjun, who are seated a little distance away. So Sora shakes him to get his attention. Jungkook, what? How come? At last, Jungkook returns to reality. Sora, Jungkook, you're not the same. You're always staring at. And when I look at you, what's the deal with that? Jungkook, what do you mean by that? Nothing at all. I just dot. I can't allow that guy to approach In too closely. Sora, why not? She is not a child. She knows what she's doing. Jungkook, but Sora, she's my best friend. I can't simply allow any guy to approach her. Sora, in an attempt to make her point, there are a lot of best friends at this college, but they don't see things the way you do. All she wanted was for Jungkook to understand that his girlfriend should come first rather than his best friend. However, she was unaware of the thoughts that her remarks were arousing in Jungkook. Sora, Jungkook, I can't let you go. I play the nerd to get your attention and win your heart. You can grant me my dream of an fancy life, one that I've always had. I'm not going to let that get away. Yeonjun? Hi, and will you be attending the party? Why? And hey, Yeonjun, I'm not sure. I don't have a male partner. Yeonjun, I can be your male partner, though it wasn't a rigid rule. Everyone was expected to have a partner because it was a ball. He still wanted to attend the party and gave it some thought and decided to agree. That's when Sora and Jungkook appeared. Sora, are you guys going to the party? Yeonjun? Yes, we are. Sora, do you have a partner in? Glancing at Jungkook, who was keen to hear her response. Why? And yes, indeed I have. So there's no need to worry. That didn't make Jungkook very happy, though. In class, inside an irritation. Gah. I just can't seem to solve this issue, she groaned. Yeonjun and Jungkook, who was sitting in front of them, both chuckled. Jungkook was staring straight ahead, but his ears were definitely tuned in. Yeonjun and Jungkook, I'll help you. And looked from one boy to the other as they exchanged a look. Everything felt awkward. Why? And forced to smile. Maybe we should just forget about this. He. The poor girl, torn between her friend and her crush. However, as they say, there's always a third choice. Party day. And is prepared with her outfit. She looks amazing in a flowy dress that perfectly accentuates her CU Pivies in white and mint green. She looks amazing with her long, straight hair down. Foreign, who typically wear shorts, jeans, and t-shirts. This is a huge deal, and went downstairs to see her parents. The way she looked amazed them beyond belief. Mr. Choi, wow, my daughter looks amazing. Low voice, while grinning proudly. It was the doorbell ringing when Mrs. Choi went to answer it. Yeonjun was standing there when she opened the door. He stepped inside after she gave him a warm welcome. Why? And Yeonjun, Mom, Dad, this is Yeonjun, my friend, Yeonjun. Bowed to her parents with deference. At last, Anne and Yeonjun arrived at the ball. Yeonjun, you look amazing, and laughed. Why? And I'm grateful, smiled in response. Why? And you look really handsome too. Yeonjun, all right, let's go. Saying that, Yeonjun folded his arm to allow him to connect hers with his, and smiled and took his arm, and the two of them entered. Together, upon their entrance, all eyes were fixed on them. In's beauty obviously made an impression on people. They look so cute together. She's stunning. When Sora and Jungkook arrived, they saw that everyone was staring in the same direction. Jungkook's eyes were so unbelievable. In's beauty completely captivated him. It felt as though In was the only person in the room, and he was completely unaware of everything around him. Jungkook, wow, she's stunning, completely absorbed in her. When Sora noticed that Jungkook was fixating on In, she became a little envious. As Yeonjun and In approached, they saw Jungkook and Sora. Yeonjun, hey everyone, look at my partner, isn't she gorgeous? Grinned broadly, while In was looking everywhere but at him, feeling extremely uneasy under his intense gaze. Jungkook couldn't take his eyes off hers. All Sora could do was smile. Jungkook, yeah, she really is. Still staring at In, she felt a little overwhelmed by his stare, so she quickly averted her gaze when she did eventually look at him. Yeonjun? Hey In, will you give me the honor of dancing with you? Extending his hand and bowing slightly to her. Taking his hand? Why? And sure, as they made their way to the dance floor, As Jungkook watched them, an odd heat began to rise. Duh, of him. Sora, aren't they just the cutest? As In and Yeonjun swayed. Together. Jungkook. No way. They're not a thing. Sora. Come on. Jungkook. Let's dance. Pulling him onto the dance floor. Jungkook couldn't help but look at In, who was grinning and dancing with Yeonjun, even as he danced with SORA. His feelings towards Yeonjun's hands-on and were a mixture of resentment and jealousy, leaving Sora behind. Jungkook moved over because he could no longer bear to watch them. Jungkook, hey, mind if I dance with my best friend? He tried hard to remain calm, but seeing them together made him at NGRY. Yeonjun ignored it and turned to leave with the way. Jungkook was acting and had no idea what was going on. Jungkook GR bed YN's hand and WR up to his other arm. Around her WAV SD, pulling her in CL0SCR . When he did that, their BODs came dangerously CL0C2. TO watching, causing him to gasp for air . Why? And, we don't have to be this close to dance, attempting to make a small space. But Jungkook wasn't having it, as he CL at MP at D0 and harder on her waist. Jungkook, but I want to, which caused him to turn to face him. She had to look away from him because he was staring directly into her eyes. Jungkook, I see you're trying to run away from me. Why? And you're wrong, attempting to maintain her composure. Jungkook, what's up with that guy? And understood exactly what he meant. Why? And he's just my friend. Jungkook? Okay, that's fine with me, but stay away from him. Serious tone. Why? And why do you behave in this manner? What's up with you? And gave him a raised eyebrows, observing Jungkook's unusually paused $Eurosip behavior. Jungkook, you're making me feel this way, but it didn't understand. Jungkook, you're really amazing. His PS nearly. Tio turned nose. You're literally taking my breath away. Race D0 when her SP, me. She wasn't sure if he was just flirting or something more. Why? And Jungkook, what are you talking about? Are you drinking any way? And stumbled, heart pounding. Jungkook, I don't know. It feels like you're controlling me. Reaching around her waist, Jungkook drew her nearer as if he couldn't get enough of her. Why? And Jungkook, it seems like you've forgotten that you have a girlfriend. Jungkook glanced over at Sora, who was in the corner talking to Yeonjun. And like when he saw Yeonjun with him, he didn't experience the same strange twist in his stomach. It was unique, even strange. Jungkook became aware that something wasn't quite right. He immediately let go of In and went outside. Jungkook in mind, what is wrong with me? I have a girlfriend. Why am I developing feelings for In? My feelings for In are completely different from my feelings for Sora. About Sora, I've never felt envious or possessive. Was I merely mistaking my crush for love? Jungkook paused to think. He heard a female voice from behind him. Yep, that's exactly it. It was Sora, approaching. Sora, it was just a mix-up. You never really had feelings for me. Jungkook, Sora, Sora, Jungkook, that's cool. I've been aware of it for some time and was always inside your heart, even though you were unaware of it. You mistook it for simple friendship. Euro P down that and was your true love. So when you saw Yeonjun becoming CL0 to her, jealousy set in. Sora, to be honest, I was chasing you for your money, and I told. And to stay away from you. I had faith that it would benefit me, chuckled. However, you abruptly wanted an around after she backed off, and that really irritated me. The way you observed her this evening, not nice. I realized I couldn't hold on to you, even if I wanted to. When you left to go see her, Sora, as you and In were dancing, Yeonjun approached me. He made me realize that I shouldn't be taken advantage of. people for my personal gain by pointing out that he knew why I was with you. You love him as much as she loves you, he told me. Tears filled Jungkook's eyes and they widened. Jungkook, esta, that she loves me? Clearly taken aback. Sora, indeed, she does. You're not even able to recall when, laughed. Tears began to fall down his cheeks. He blamed himself. Jungkook, why didn't I see this? Sora, Jungkook, you still have time. Go get your girl. Jungkook wasted no time in running to find In. She was outside the party hall, though. He hurried out and saw In standing there. Jungkook, why? In yelled. When she turned around, Jungkook was grinning at her. He now had such a different appearance. Running up to her, Jungkook gave her a firm hug and was completely shocked by his unexpected tenderness. With his eyes closed, he and Brett CED her and basked on her WRMTH. Why? N. What's up with you? Clearly confused as she pulled away from the hug. She was even more puzzled by Jungkook's continued smile. Why? N. If you keep hanging on me, your girlfriend's gonna get jealous. Laughed. Jungkook, I recently ended our relationship, continued to smile, and was completely perplexed. Would he not be angry? Why did it make him so happy? That was her thought process, and squinted her eyes and put her hand to her forehead. Why? And do you feel ill at all? What's wrong with you? With a laugh, Jungkook grabbed her hands. Jungkook, right now, everything's going well, grinned. In C0 seeked her head. Why? And you know what? All I want to do is go home. Pulling her towards his car. Jungkook, I'll give you a ride. Jungkook smiled the entire time, while it became increasingly confused by his vibe. They soon found themselves at In's house. Both of them entered. Mr. and Mrs. Choi were surprised to see Jungkook. They didn't expect him to come with YN. Why? N? Just check on him. Mom and Dad. I have to get dressed. I'm kind of scared of him. And she left for her room, while Mr. and Mrs. Choi exchanged perplexed looks. Jungkook simply laughed. Mr. Choi, come on. Jungkook, have a seat, and sat down. So, what's happening? By that, what did she mean? Jungkook, I'll tell, Uncle. But first, I have a question. He looked directly at them. Jungkook, did you know that In has feelings for me? The parents looked at each other. Mr. Choi exhaled deeply. Indeed, we were aware. Your parents were also aware. However, she remained silent until the evening. You brought your girlfriend home. He described how In had sobbed and concealed her emotions. In order to appease Jungkook, Jungkook was overcome with regret at not realizing this earlier. Jungkook, I sincerely apologize, Uncle. I had no idea. She liked me. Mr. Choi. Jungkook, it's not your fault. Simply wasn't the right time. They never were angry with Jungkook. They just weren't. Jungkook, Uncle, Auntie, I really love In with all of his heart. He talked about how his emotions had grown and how he came to understand them. Mr. and Mrs. Choi were ecstatic to hear that. They knew In still had feelings for him, even if she didn't express them. Jungkook also told his family, and they were just as happy. Finally, it felt like everything was going to be okay. Next morning, when In woke up, she saw Jungkook lying next to her, staring at her. Why? And you look so real. Jungkook, I am real. In's smile vanished and she jumped up and sat up in bed. With Jungkook, why? And what are you doing here? Jungkook, what? I've been here before. Why? And where's Dad and Mom? Who gave you permission to enter? Jungkook, my parents, and they are out shopping. I got the key from them. Why? And how can they leave me here with a guy? She couldn't believe it. He led Ned closer. Jungkook, don't you know me? The cheeky smile that gave her a little uneasy feelings, and Pooh Dollar had him off, about to walk away. But before she could do so, Jungkook key dollar at her on the back of her in Euro CK, he Cielo said. his eyes and gave her a euro peaky dollar, causing her eyes to widen. He stared directly into her eyes as he withdrew. Jungkook, I love you. And she just stared at him without replying. Jungkook, am I too late? What's keeping you silent? Just say something, please. Why? And I know you love me. Smiled. Jungkook, how do you know? Surprised. Why? And I overheard you talking to my parents last night. Why? And I still love you, and I always will. Overwhelmed by joy, Jungkook drew her into a tight embrace. A moment later, he released his grip. Jungkook, is that why you were so nervous to see me today? And smiled naively at him. Jungkook, well, now you're my girlfriend. So, double quotes, and then in. Gave him a playful shove. Jungkook laughed. Jungkook, what? All I wanted to do was sleep and cuddle. Since this morning, I've been waiting here. Jungkook, what were you thinking? Grinned cheekily. From behind, he put his arms around in and pooed at her, down beside him. Jungkook, why did you say no that day when I asked you? Why? And I never refused. I simply inquired, do you think I'd fall in love with you? It was you who thought no. Jungkook shook his head and apologized. Jungkook, I was so blind that I didn't see your feelings all this time. Why? And turned to face him. It's all good. It's not your fault, gently cupping his face. Jungkook smiled and let net in for a key dollar. Went in and Jungkook finally got married after a few years. It was a very joyous day for them both and their families. In the end, Sora and Yeonjun became a couple as well.